This is the story of how I left my thriving design career behind to start my dream business and have it ultimately fail, leaving me completely broke. So you're probably thinking, what went wrong? How can you not repeat the same mistakes that I did? Also, you're probably thinking, how much money did it take to launch a business like this? So in this video, I'm going to cover all of those questions. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you one huge thing that I wish I'd done differently and something that I would completely change from day one if I was to start over. So let's get into it. It was 2021. I was leading a really amazing team of engineers and designers in my job, and I had a seriously comfortable life. It was at this moment where I decided to finally pull the plug, quit my job, and start my own product business. So that takes us to stage one of the journey, and that is the good. If you're planning on eventually selling any types of products, you might start off with loads and loads of ideas. And one of the difficult things about this is you're not really sure which of those ideas are going to do well. Introducing the scattergun approach. Let's imagine for a second you're about to bet on a horse race. Rather than betting all your money on a single horse, you decide to spread your bets over lots and lots of good horses. So I got to work and I designed around 25 different product variations and launched them all at the same time. This was my way of being able to test the market. Basically, every single product was on sale, and so you can quite quickly see which of those products are doing well and which ones aren't doing so well. So there's a huge amount of learnings once you've launched all of them. I decided to launch on Etsy. That was because the products that we're doing were all personalized, so great for the gifting market. So out of all these different product types, which one do you think did the best? If you guessed the personalized Swiss Army knives, you'd be right. This is why the scattergun strategy was great. I left enough time, enough money, enough resource available to be able to double down on that product type and basically design much more products that were like that and lean into that success. Over about the 2-year period that I ran my Etsy shop, I made over 1,000 orders and around £55,000 in revenue. What I'm most proud of, though, is we had 280 5-star reviews. So the products, when they were being received really, really well. Everyone was happy. So I was absolutely loving that. So this all sounds amazing, yeah? Great products, loads of people buying them, great reviews. So what went wrong? Let's talk about the bad. This is where things started to go a little bit pear-shaped. And also, I'll explain how much money I invested in the business. So if you're interested in that, stick around. We're going to talk about something called cash flow. As a product designer, I was interested in like business terms and things like that, but I didn't really pay it that much attention. It's a financial term. I want to focus on design stuff. But when you're a business owner, suddenly this thing becomes really, really important. The way that I could finally wrap my head around this thing was by picturing a bucket. The bucket is full of water, and that water represents how much cash you've got in your business. When you're spending money, you put a hole in the bottom of that bucket, and the water flowing out, that's how much you're spending. The tap on the top, when you turn that on, that is the money coming into your business through product sales. Cash flow basically is you want to keep the bucket being filled with water and continuously filling with water, not draining away. So how much money did I invest in this business? My bucket was full of £20,000. So when I started investing and designing and making all those products, I put about £5,000 into the products, a small amount of inventory, some samples, and to get the first manufacturing order over the line. Sales were going good, but I was still needing more money to cover my rent, my bills, and just to basically survive. So how do you slow down this negative cash flow thing that you've got going on? Enter side beans. Side beans is another word for a part-time job or freelance work. When you separate out the income that you have just to pay for bills and surviving from your business, it becomes a lot cleaner. My side beans was working for my family restaurant. I basically helped them take their outdated brand into a new look and feel and also allowed them to expand into different product types. So we made some gins and beer, and that was how I supplemented my income and kind of slowed down the impact of this cash flow intensive work, which is launching new products. So we've got our products launched, they're going pretty well. I've got my side beans supplementing my income. That all sounds like a winning combination. And what thing happened next was unexpected. The ugly. This is what I call death of a thousand cuts. And it's something that creeps up on you and you're not really aware when it's happening. So it's a good idea to pay attention so you don't want this thing to happen to you. When I first started my studio, my time and my calendar was wide open. I was my own boss. It felt amazing. I could control whatever I wanted to do. If I wanted to go surfing midweek, I could, whatever. It was great. But then the orders started coming in, and suddenly I wasn't so in control of my time. Let's talk through a typical day in the life of running the studio. You'd have 4 new orders for one of these products. You'd have to get the product out, prepare it, engrave it, package it, and then put the postage labels on it, and eventually take it to the post office to ship it out. That in total took about 45 minutes per order. So suddenly, when you have 10 orders from the day before, the next day, all you're doing is orders. At first, this felt absolutely amazing. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, multiple orders coming through the door, fulfilling them as fast as we could, and felt rushed off our feet. Even though this felt amazing, because we could only do 10 or 12 orders per day, we were banging our heads against the maximum output for the business. And even though per day we were making a bit of money, it just wasn't enough money to cover all the other expenses that the business had to pay for. So even though we were rushed off our feet, we were slowly losing money day by day. What I should have done was simplify the order process so it took less than 10 minutes, and hired an employee so I could focus on growing the business through new products and marketing. So it would have been painful, it would have cost us more money in the short term, but in the long term, I would have had a scalable business. So what big mistake did I make that killed my business? On the good side, we had the scattergun approach. People were really loving the products. On the bad side, we had poor cash flow management, temporarily fixed by my side beans or my secondary income. And on the ugly side, we had bad operations and basically put a ceiling on how much we could scale as a business. At the start of the video, I said I would reveal one huge thing I would do differently if I were to start this whole thing again. Every day, whilst being a solo entrepreneur, I was thinking deeply and basically worrying the whole time. When I was starting my business, I felt very isolated, and I didn't share the backstory at all. So I was suffering in silence. I would tell people if they asked how hard it was, but I really didn't share the story as well as I could. And the cost of that was that when things were going bad, I had no one to tell. And what I would do completely differently nowadays is I would share every story I could from day one. I would focus probably around 30% of my time on social media and creating videos about what we're doing so that you can build and bring a community along the journey with you. Now, this sounds like cliche business advice, and I've been in the meetings where people say, you have to build a community, you have to build a community. But I found it gross, I found it cliche, and I found it like pretend, like it's not a real community. It's just, you just want to sell to them eventually. But what I realized is actually not the case. It's the complete opposite. It's you helping other people who may want to do the same thing that you're doing. And that is why I'm doing videos like this. So there you have it. There is my no filter rendition and my story of running my own product business. There's a few things that I wanted to get off my chest. Number one, you definitely don't need £20,000 to start your own product business. This is just the way that I went about it, and I don't want people to be disheartened and feel like there's a big barrier to entry to getting into selling your own products online. There really isn't, and there's lots and lots of ways of doing it, which I can go over in lots of other new videos of how to do it with barely any cash. So if you're interested in that, drop a comment that you'd like to see that, and I'll make it a priority to put that in. If you enjoyed this and you want to know more about the design process, I've made a video rundown going from right through from the concept to a product that will be ready to contact manufacturers and start the process of getting it manufactured here. If you know anyone in the following fields: product design, business, 3D printing, I'm right at the start of this YouTube journey, so if you share this video with them and see if they like it, that would really help me grow. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Cheers.